What's going on, everybody? This is Greatest Bro on Turf. Here with my analysis of the 2015 St. Louis Rams draft class. To start it off, last year the Rams went with the best available player in the first round with Aaron Donald, and I guess Jeff Fisher and Les Snead said that worked out so well. Let's do it again. Picking up Todd Gurley, who was the best running back, I'm not gonna say head and shoulders, but was the best running back uh, in this year's draft class. They called him a unique talent. Ditto that. I agree with that. He's a phenomenal runner. Great balance of power and speed and vision and just everything that you really want from a young running back. He can catch out of the backfield. Uh, really loved the pick in the second round. They picked up Rob Havenstein from Wisconsin. He's a Wisconsin guy. I like him already. Wisconsin always produces good linemen. Another big road grader. He's a big guy, was surprisingly light on his feet. His technique and pass pro will definitely need some work. But I like the guy. I think he's going to be a day one starter. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure he is. In the third round, we traded picks with the Panthers. We traded back in exchange for two picks, the first of which we used on Jamon Brown, an offensive tackle from Louisville. I think he'll be a better fit at a guard just because I think his skills transfer better there. Second pick in the third round, we used that on Sean Mannion, quarterback from Oregon State. Big, tall guy, 6'6". Can see over the line. Four-year starter at Oregon State. With his best year coming in 2013, of course, Brandon Cooks and Marcus Wheaton were his two top targets, and when he lost them, things really kind of took a dip for him. He's a guy who has 54 career interceptions, but he did cut it down to 8. But also, he only threw 15 interceptions. 15 touchdowns last year, I think. I think he'll best. He's obviously going to be a backup, but if there's a career trajectory, I think he's just going to develop into a game manager, which there's nothing wrong with that. And in the fourth round, we picked up Andrew Nanel from Iowa. Iowa's another school that always produces good offensive lineman picks. My bad. I was thinking about something else. My bad. Like I said, Iowa always produces good picks. Uh, Another guy that I like, he was teammates with Brandon Scherf. They both actually tore ACLs in the same game, and they both rehabbed them together. And I think, just from them hanging out, obviously, them being teammates, I just said Iowa always produces good offensive linemen. Uh, Again, another pick that I like. And in the fifth round, we had a lot of people thought we had a need. Well, obviously, uh, Rams brass thought we had a need at wide receiver. Again, ditto that. So they addressed that by picking up Bud Sasser from Missouri. My first time I saw Bud Sasser play a game was in the 2013 Cotton Bowl, Missouri versus Oklahoma State. First time I had seen Missouri play that season, and they were talking about the receivers and how all of them were 6'2" and taller, big fit. But one of the things that I noticed that there was a lot of drops in that game from him and from the rest. So I just really wrote him off. Uh, I didn't even really look at too much film on him in preparation for the draft. But after I heard the pick, I went back and I looked at some film on him and did some research on him, and he improved greatly after Dorial Green Beckham was dismissed from Missouri. He led the team in yards, catches, and touchdowns, and really cleaned up a lot of the problems that he had with drops. Made a lot more tough catches. He's not a huge guy. He's about 6'2", 215, 220, somewhere in there. He will go up and fight for the ball. Will make a play on the ball. Like I said, will make tough catches. We'll see how he pans out in our. There's not much competition uh, There's not much competition for him after Brian Quick, Kenny Britt, and Tavon Austin. So I definitely think there's going to be a chance for him to make to make the roster and actually get some some PT this upcoming season. Then in the sixth round, we went after well not went after we drafted Cody Wickman from Fresno State, a guy who admittedly I don't know a lot about. I'm just gonna say right now, I like the attention paid, paid to the need at offensive line. That we went after 4 offensive linemen. I think that was good. Like I said, don't know much about him. And the last pick, I gotta look up this guy's name. I have it. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say Brian. Bryce Hager. I saw him play one game. I think in the Baylor's. He's first of all, let me start. He's an inside linebacker from Baylor. I saw him play one game, which was the bowl game, and in that game, he made a few plays I liked. Over pursued on a couple of plays. Zeke when he should have zagged. I don't know why I love using that one. But we definitely had a need, an inside linebacker. Not a need, but maybe some depth across the whole the entire linebacker position. Not sure if I like him particularly. We'll see how we'll see in training camp. I usually don't go too hard on 7th round picks because 7th round picks are routinely cut from the team. So I'm not gonna call it a wasted. I'm not gonna call it a wasted pick, but it just is what it is. So as for a grade for this draft, I'm gonna give it a B. At first, I was thinking to myself, when we picked Todd Gurley, what on earth is going on? We need offensive linemen. We should have, that should have been the first priority. But, the more I thought about it, the more I love it. And the more I think about it, even now, I love the pick more with each passing moment. Love the attention paid to our needed offensive line. As I said before, we picked 4 offensive linemen. I thought maybe we could have got a couple of other guys instead of the guys that we got. But again, we still got some big hog mollies up front that are gonna be able to open up holes for Todd Gurley and Trey Mason. Sean Mannion pick, I felt we reached a little bit on him. I felt that he could have possibly been there in the next round, but St. Louis pull the trigger on him anyway. We do need a backup quarterback. Austin Davis and Case Keenum are on the roster right now, but just to have some more competition at that position, especially given our history with Sam Bradford's history, injury history. I know he's not on the team anymore, but it just goes to show how important it is to have a good backup. And I don't think Sean Mannion was the best guy in that. Well, I'll take that back. I'll take that back. I like because he did run a pro style system in at Oregon State. And that's not something you can say for the rest of the quarterback prospects in this draft. And he has a lot of inconsistencies. But I think that had to do with just not really having any playmakers at the wide receiver position and really not having a good offensive line. I think he'll definitely progress. As I said, for the last 2 picks, I don't really know much about Cody Wickman, and I only saw Bryce Hager play one game. Usually don't. Like I said, 7, and even sometimes 6th-round picks are routinely cut, so I don't really view those as a wasted pick or anything like it. I like with this draft class. I like the trajectory of the team. Where it's going. Obviously, it looks like this year is going to be a really exciting year. I know I made a video last night about me not liking Jeff Fisher, but I think if everything goes how everybody thinks this could be a really exciting season. We're gonna have a new quarterback. A lot of people felt that maybe Sam Bradford should have got one more year, to prove himself. But I think it was just mutually beneficial for both sides for us to get rid of. So just for us to get rid of his huge contract, and for him to get a start over in a with a new team and a new city and a system which I think fits him more. Uh, he ran a spread style system in college. That's what made him the number one overall pick. That's what made him a Heisman Trophy winner. A lot of people call Chip Kelly a quarterback guru. I don't think he makes quarterbacks good. I just think his system makes quarterbacks look good. Um, but well wishes to him. I hope he has all the success in the world. Well, not all the success, but I hope he does well in Philly. Nick Foles lit it up in 2013. Everybody knows 27 interceptions. 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I highly doubt he'll ever have a season like that again. I highly doubt that we'll see another season like that for a long time. Fell off in 2014, but I think a lot of that had to do with injuries. Um, the important thing to remember, Nick Foles was in Philly last year, and a lot of people, everybody wants to talk about quarterbacks, but Chip Kelly's system is revolved around the run game. It's revolved about the run game. That's why it's so easy for quarterbacks, because safeties are so worried about the threat of a run that they're not paying the due attention to the receivers on the outside. And anytime you're going to run the ball, you have to have a good offensive line. And when you have four offensive linemen missing, it really, as Philly did at some points last year, uh, it really hampers your ability to run the ball, which in Chip Kelly's system then hampers your ability to throw the ball, because a lot of there is off read option play actions, just play actions and things of that sort. I think behind a healthy line with some good quality receivers, I think he'll do well. Not saying he's gonna, what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say he's the second coming. I think he'll do well. I think if Brian Quick is healthy and he gets back to the form that he had last year, that'll be great for him. If we can get Tavon Austin more involved in the passing game, I think that'll be great for him. I think Bud Sasser, if he, turns out to be what I hope he can be, that'll be good for him. And obviously, with Todd Gurley and Trey Mason, we're gonna have a good running, and with the offensive line, we're gonna have a good running game. The defense, the beginning of last year, the defense struggled at points as a matter of, and our defense has struggled a lot in the past, but we even had struggle getting after the quarterback, which was something that St. Louis as a team just hasn't had a problem with that, even when our defense was bad. I think through week 7 we had 1 sack, and then the floodgates just opened after that, and I believe from that point on we led the NFL in sacks. I think, and the defense as a whole improved, over the season. I thought safeties improved. T.J. McDonald improved a lot. I thought Rodney McLeod improved a lot. Janoris Jenkins, I don't know if I've already said, he is what he is. He's he's a hit or miss guy. He's either gonna make a great play or he's gonna. One thing I did like about him, he pretty much shut down Dez Bryant in the Dallas game. Dez Bryant, of course, had that 1 touchdown, but that was just because of a busted coverage. But for the rest of the game, Janoris Jenkins dogged him for the rest of the game, and I thought that was, that's great to be able to say that you really gave, one of the top maybe 5 receivers in the league, to say that you really made him almost a non-factor outside of that touchdown, which was of course a busted coverage. Thought he improved. EJ Gaines stepped up in a big way last season. He of course made a few rookie mistakes, gave up a touchdown in that Dallas game, gave up a few touchdowns, But like I said, he's a rookie, it's gonna happen. But I thought he really played better than a lot of people thought he was. Alec Ogletree had problems in the beginning of the season, but as the defense turned around, he turned around. The defensive line. Well, let me get back to the linebackers. James Laurinaitis. Uh, what can you say about him? Great team leader. uh, you know, I'd like to see him be more of a force in the run game, but maybe that's because he plays a little farther off the ball than most linebackers do. I don't know if that's something that defensive coordinator Greg Williams has instructed him to do or something he does on his own. But I would like him to see. He makes a lot of tackles, but a lot of them are like 4 and 5 yards down the field. I want to see him make more plays at and behind the line of scrimmage. I still like him. I still think he's a good, not a good quarterback. Still think he's a good linebacker. Uh, and of course the defensive line. Robert Quinn, arguably the best 4-3 defensive end, pass rushing defensive end in the league. Force out there on the edge. Uh, you know what I'm saying? When he gets going, when he gets going, when he's getting multiple sacks, it's a different team. Uh, I'm pretty sure Russell Wilson hates playing against us because he always seems to get beat up. We always sack him multiple times. A lot of that's just when Robert Quinn gets going, when Robert Quinn gets going, it opens up things for the rest of the D line. You saw Aaron Donald have 9 sacks from the inside, from his D tackle position last season, and everybody knew that he was good. He was a good pass rusher from the defensive tackle position, but a lot of that had to do with Robert Quinn attracting double teams, and like I said, when Robert Quinn gets going, it gets the rest of the defensive line going, and it makes things easier for the rest of the defensive line, for the rest of the defense. Special teams, not gonna. Johnny Hecker's one of the best punters in the game. Also has one of the highest QBR ratings in NFL history. That is one thing that I do like about Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher is definitely not afraid to go for it on 4th down when the need calls for it. You see one of the things I hate seeing is when a team is down by like 20 points in the 4th quarter and they're still trying to play conservative. I'm thinking to myself, just go ahead, go for it on 4th and 85. You're down by 20 anyway. I really like that about Jeff Fisher. Is the fact that he'll call a fake punt or just flat out go for it on 4th down. I do like that about him. So yeah, that's our team. I think our defense will get even better under year 2 of Greg Williams' defense. Oh yeah, we picked up in the offseason. We picked up Akeem Ayers and Nick Fairley. Nick Fairley, who a lot of people were really excited about that pick, was really another reason for Detroit's defense stepping up. I think they were the number one, one of the best run defenses in the league. He was a big part of that. He'll be a factor there in the middle, right next to Aaron Donald. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna rotate Michael Brockers, Aaron Donald, and Nick Fairley. I'm pretty they're gonna rotate those 3 out of there. And Akeem Ayers is a player who he's a better edge rusher than he is, and then Greg Williams, the Mad Hatter, Greg the Bounty Hunter Williams. I'm pretty sure he's gonna find some ways to make Akeem Ayers usable. Coming off if it's coming off the edge, if it's whatever. Greg Williams is a genius at that. Offense, obviously, the offense needs a lot of improvement. I thought a lot of that had to do with Brian Schottenheimer as offensive coordinator. Now that he's gone, hopefully Frank Cignetti can look at his mistakes and learn from them. We got a lot of a lot of times when you look at teams that have problems offensively, it's because they don't have a lot of playmakers, and I don't think that's the problem with this team. I think we have a lot of playmakers. We just need to learn to use them more often. I want to see Tavon Austin get more involved in the passing game, not just running him, having him go in motion and run reverses or lining him up and running back. I want to see him line up at slot and run posts, run go routes, slants. Have him sit down in the zone, give him the ball in open space and let him work. Hopefully Brian Quick is injured, is healthy, and he gets back to the form that he was last season. And obviously, hopefully Todd Gurley rehabs his knee. If he does, he'll be a force. Splitting carries with Trey Mason. I think that'll give us a great dynamic duo at running back. Uh, you know, seem to be our offensive line seems to be heading in the right direction. Like I already said, we drafted 4 offensive linemen. Still unsure if we're going to bring back Joe Barksdale. There's still interest there, but my outlook for the season is definitely positive. Definitely, I think this draft class really puts us in a good position to compete in the NFC West and compete in the NFL. This is Greatest Bro on Turf. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me at Greatest Bro LA. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you want to say, just put it in the comments section. Like I said, this is Greatest Bro on Turf signing out.